Thanks everyone for coming. On this Caturday, we're gonna check out Substance Painter, and Substance Painter is a pretty cool app. You can use it for texturing, and you can make your custom textures, and you can get it on Steam. So actually, Substance Painter is has been acquired by Adobe a while ago, a few years ago. It's also not super cheap. But still, if you're like actually having fun making your own models and making your own content and avatars and so on, I think it's really worth it to actually give it a shot. What we are gonna do today is I have this hoodie, and we're actually gonna try texture that hoodie for to use like with avatars, or yeah, just like as an asset that you can like give out to people. And let me know whenever you have any questions. I'm just gonna like try a couple of things, and I'm also gonna show you a couple of different approaches. I'm not gonna go very deep into the functionalities, but we're gonna like look at all the different steps when it comes to texturing something. It's also really important to choose a template or like a format for your exports, depending on like which platform you export it for, which render pipeline you're on. Yeah, but we're just gonna make a new file. So choosing the template is like the first big question, and there's actually no real like Unity built-in template. So for like one asset, I also made just like my own template, which I then just kept using for a couple of things. Yeah, this really depends on what you want to do with your assets. So when I export GLBs right away for usage in Hyperfy, for example, like the assets that you see around you, they are PBR, and you can export them right from here. I think we're just gonna go with this one for now. And Unity likes this. And then this is the first big decision that we have to make. And that's really important what we're gonna do here. Because Substance is really good at unwrapping your model and making sure that the textures are nicely laid out. And so if your model is unwrapped well, you might not want to hit this one, but if it's not, then like you want to do that. And so it really depends again like on what you're working with. And I would just do the steps twice to see if we see any difference. I think it's kind of interesting to check that out. And so I'm going to select a file. So that's a blank hoodie. And we're just not gonna unwrap it for this step. So this is how it comes in, which actually looks fairly good to me at least. It doesn't use the full thing here, but it all looks pretty nicely laid out, and it has like big parts for things to go on top. And so yeah, here you can see the hoodie. How it looks. And then this is just like one piece, right? So we can see that here. And then also if we double click this, we see that this is only one piece. Like this is just one layer. So if you want to go into that separation mode, which we won't need for here, it separates like your existing geometry basically. And you can double click this and then go into the properties tab for the geometry, and then click off the ones you don't want your texture to go on, but we don't have that here. So I'm just gonna use it like this. And then we're just gonna try and drag something on it to like see what happens. Oh, wow. Well, that's an interesting hoodie, I guess. Then you wanna like do some things on this material, you can tile it a bit more, maybe like this. This actually looks quite cool. It's a bit shimmery. And then you can also look at like, yeah, you can rotate the whole thing on it. Or move it around depending on if it has some areas that you find interesting, which is not really the case with what we have here. It's very repetitive pattern. But then again, like you can check here, like this also can have a normal map. Oh, we didn't even have that normal map on before. So normal maps make everything like way more intense. So you actually have like way more what you see here, these dark parts basically are like simulating the shadow that you would get like just with a normal map. This is without the normal map. So it depends on like, it tries to simulate way more in the texture these actual holes. I think actually for what we're going for here with this kind of texture, it makes sense to have the normal map on, but that's then really up to you. You don't see that now with my tiling, but you do have lots of options here in terms of you can add dirt to the pattern. Might be hard to see on the screen you're on, but this is a bit clearer to see what it does. So there's also a lot of sliders and a lot of these materials that you can play around with to make it a bit more like you want it to look like. Oh, wow. So we can fill them all out. Okay. Yeah, cool stuff. We can now also say like that's cool, but we want this like with this topping kind of in pink. And then we can just like drag a different material on top, right? So, and it's still like laid out really well. You can play around with it. And then what we actually wanted to do is we want to brand this, right? So, we have like a whole couple of icons up here. These are like our materials that we can use. And these are materials. Then we have smart materials. They're somehow more smart. Oh, you see, like I exported a couple of my materials as smart materials. I think this is a kind of grouping of materials. And then these are masks that are also already fully done. Filters. Not even sure what a filter is. So actually, this is also a thing about Substance Painter. It's a huge program and you can go so deep into things, but you can also just use it for like basics and you can do things really fast. Yeah, you can also paint on things. I think for that, we would need to make a new layer. So, then you can add the paint here. And I don't know. Oh, well, that's not what we wanted. But I think you get my point. Yeah, so if we want to paint something on there, it's probably gonna look a bit different. You can also paint with a different material on it. So you could paint like that material on it, which is definitely a bit better. I do not have a plan for this that much. So bear with me and ask any questions if you have any, if you want me to show you something specific. Otherwise, yeah, I'm just going to remove this. And then these are like, what are they called here? Alphas. Yeah, they're like alpha channels where you can like add certain things. And I'm looking if I have the Roots Club logo here, but I don't think I do. Pull, push, keep out. Danger. Oh, that's interesting. I'm not sure what that means, but that's the word cool. Maybe just gonna use that. So I think what we wanna do is we wanna add this layer and then we wanna add a black mask. And then on there we wanna add a fill. And then
I had a question.
yes.
I don't know if you could see the chat. I can kind of help read the questions. There's some questions in the chat.
Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't look at them.
It's okay. I see a question from Amish masks.
Yes. Yeah, I'm just being lazy and edit the one that are already there. Yes, you can totally add your own masks on here, import resources, and then go add resources, and then we can go Roots Club club logo. And think we want to use this one. And then we're going to mark it as an alpha. And we're going to import this in our library. We could also import it instead in just the current session, but let's just do this. Oh, and here's my root logo, actually. I'll show you how this looks like. Because this is probably the wrong way around right now. So I would need like, as an alpha channel, I would need this all black and then the logo is white. So I would need to prepare this before. But yes, that's how you add your logos. And then you can just also go here and do no repeat. This is kind of what I have on my avatar. Oh. I don't know why this doesn't scale correctly. Sorry. Okay, there we go. Shift. As always. But yeah, this is like the hoodie. And here you see like it moves a bit. So it depends on where you're gonna put it, how it's gonna be squeezed or not squeezed. And usually like the smaller you have it, the smaller your area is, that needs to be straight for it to look good, the better. Yeah. So you see this, and sometimes these things actually are easier if you unwrap it inside of Substance. We could give that a shot. So that we're just gonna go again and go new file, and then I'm gonna select this again. And then we're gonna go auto unwrap and see if this makes any difference. With some models it says if I would take the same thing, I think that's what I took, or a bit different. So you see this is cut on whole different parts. The other one was cut on the sleeves. And this is like, it's actually not as bad as I thought it might be, but still, like, it's not great, that's for sure. Like in terms of finding a piece that's actually in one piece. So we're gonna again like add a fill layer and add a black mask. And then on that, we're gonna add this fill, and this fill is gonna be our root logo. If I would find it again. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So for this, like if you want to change how this layer is going to show up, we're going to mark this field. And here we can either just change the color, or we can also select the material that's going to like show up like this. So we can check this one. And then the thing here is that, oh, I'm tiling the material currently, not the layer. So if you want to go back to the fill, then you're going to go mark this part. No repeat. And now we have to find a position, but this is actually good. So you see, it really depends on the model. But this one is actually not bending a lot here. But then again, you can place it anywhere else. Like here, you see this is not one part. So on the right side, like it goes over. And then you see like these are also disconnected. They're just somewhere. But it's actually kind of okay. I thought it would be worse, but it definitely didn't recognize that this is a hoodie. Let's see if we can put, oh wow. Like look at this. Not too bad at all. I'm actually surprised how well this works. Even it looks so ripped here, like on this area. But this is a really solid position, like one position in the middle. If you remember the last try, like it was still a bit wobbly on all areas, but this one here gave us a really solid little piece to play with. Like this is kind of the safe zone if you're gonna zoom in here. Oh. You can just like move it around on this area, and that's where it's all good. Well, mainly. All right. So yeah, these are kind of the basics. I'm gonna just check back on your questions.
I'm curious about how to export, I guess. For what formats?
So yeah, that's actually an important one. So here it's because we unwrap this, we also need to export this new mesh. So what we did in the first step was like we didn't do an unwrapping of the model, but now we did. So for now, for this specific one, we want to export the mesh and the textures. So mesh, you just go like this one and export basically this certain mesh, and then for the textures, it really also depends on your template that you have chosen, what you're gonna export. So you can also here then like change your export template again. But oh, and there's also more in here. But it might be if you change your export template and you don't use the same one that you actually did use in your project, that you do not have these certain maps in here. Then you would need to go back to texture settings and then add the different maps that aren't included in your template. So as you see here though, like there's like lots of different presets that you can use. Also URP ones. It's a bit annoying that they're not there by setup. I don't know what that is. I've heard that from a few
Yeah.
other people as well. Here you put your texture size, and usually, like, it really depends on what you want to do, but it might be good in the first place to export it like that and then compress it in Unity if needed. But like some platforms actually really like avatars with 4K textures, so it could be a good thing to do. Mm. And then you're gonna try if it works. And it's gonna tell you if it doesn't. Okay, so this exported now these ew, these four maps. So we have a base color, roughness, metallic, a normal, and a height map that we get from this template. And those we can then use inside of Unity. So we're just gonna go inside of Unity, we make a material, can be standard material or whatever, and it then you can match these certain maps to it. And then again, like if you have a different model or whatever, like you can check like which one is the one that you gonna use. Oh, here they also have them all listed out, like which maps they're gonna like export for you, and you can also add like these certain attributes like match texture set normal. You can add like new ones here. Drag and drop maps and outputs channel to set up your export. So yeah, you can basically customize that. There's whole tutorials. Like I know I did one of them a while ago, like when I just started with Substance Painter, but I never really needed to do those much. Like they look pretty complicated in the beginning, but you actually usually don't really go there. I mean, it's interesting probably to see that this exists, but it's not really something that you need to use when you export your stuff. um, there's a really cool functionality which I usually always do whenever I start with something. It's like to bake the whole thing because it can give you something I usually always do in the beginning is like just bake everything so you get ambient occlusion, like you know so you see like darker spots after like these wrinkles from this pullover, so it just looks a bit more realistic. Which is like baked lighting basically, but um
Is it better to use, I guess, backlighting in like now before or baking in Unity or to?
no, so for avatars, I do it on clothes in here. So for whenever I do something in Unity for a platform, I usually use bakery. So you can do
Okay.
really nice baking in bakery, and you can also do reflection probes and everything in bakery. But this I really just use for avatar clothes, basically, that they have already nice shadows, or also accessoires like the hoverboard with the Alice head on top of it that I sculpted in Adobe Substance Modeler. That one is also like I did the textures in here and I painted them over a bit, and I also like added all this ambient occlusion baking. I'm not even finding the baking right now. Maybe it's just like different, like that they changed it because this looks like maybe it's just in a different window. This looks like they updated this area because it's the same interface actually. And then it's gonna go through your baking. The ambient occlusion is the one that I really wanna have. And it would bake like all of these other things as well, but this is the one that we're probably gonna use later on as well. Yeah, so I think, yeah, it's doing the same thing as well. So yeah, it's just baking, and it has a new tab, which I didn't know previously. But it's now here under mode, and then you go into the different modes. Not sure. Anyways, do you have any more questions? Oh, now I can see that. Oh, textures. Yes, 100%. You can also paint over things. You can like, yes, you can like, if you want to put a AI generated textures, you can basically go and put any kind of texture and paint that onto your pullover or something. Audio is cutting. Oh, it's back. Okay. Oh shit. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure right now what I would do with but I can look into it. Like if you want to like paint AI textures on models, we can definitely do that in another session as well. I don't know how to do it currently, but it is completely possible. But I would need to like click around a bit longer. Yeah, it's a good part two. Exactly. I'm gonna figure that out, and then I'm gonna have this as a part two. Is there any more questions to like the basics, like opening substance? Yeah, just like
I'm
getting it.
thinking about the file format. Is it does it mainly work with FBXs or what other file formats?
I think you can also import a GLB if I'm gonna go to a new thing and then go. Yeah, select. I can also have GLBs, I'm pretty sure. Doesn't OBJ, you see? That works too. You can do that. And then GLBs work as well. I'm just not 100% sure where they are. Just like for Unity, you want to have this as OpenGL. You can also up your document resolution from the beginning. And yeah, that's the important one. If you auto unwrap, you like we did now, we need to export this new mesh because it's not going to fit otherwise. So we always have to remember that when we auto unwrap in here.
For Substance Painter, are you using like a pay per month version?
Yes. Yeah, I do the
Okay.
per month thing because I have already a Adobe subscription, and so yeah, I don't know why. Don't ask me.
Okay, clear.
I'm stuck in a subscription. And I usually don't change things before they get really annoying, and it's still all right. But yeah, I recommend if you're not stuck like that, just get it from Steam because it makes more sense on the long run.
Thank you.
Yeah. I know it's like just a subscription nightmare, but really like even Substance Modeler, like they're all on Steam. I would really get them there. It's like a one time a bit more, but then again, like Adobe subscription costs you, I feel like that much every year. Just keeps going. All right, cool. I think that's it for now. We hit the 8:45 mark. I think this is a nice format, like kind of 40 minutes. Yes, cut the stream. Yes, we're done.